Yo, what is good?
What
is up? Yo, my lovely, beautiful guys, gals, non-binary pals. Thaan, I got you on the podcast, bro. How you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling honored,
Yeah.
to be here on this Infinite Love podcast.
Yeah.
You're delivering that message. So just the fact that I could be here, spread some wisdom, exchange ideas.
Yeah. I'm grateful to have you here, man.
Very grateful.
For all my guests out here, this is my boy Thaan, man. We met each other back last year, came across each other we're actually in a band together, Fluid Frequencies. Stream our stuff. This is my
Fluid
guitarist.
Frequencies.
Yeah.
We in the house.
Yeah, so we're very much aligned when it comes to music, and I know our messages. I love your workshops where you're building with Adobe, and just like your whole mission and your message. So like to have you on the podcast is really an honor. To share this space with you is amazing, especially when we're talking about trans. We're having a whole trans visibility party coming up,
Yes.
And the alchemy of femininity, of masculinity, and just who we are as individuals, So I want to talk about that with you.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds exciting.
But first, I want to breathe. You could have breathed with me, man. I'm just gonna breathe.
Of course.
It's like 3 deep breaths. Inhale in, let's say 3 seconds. We can hold 3 seconds. And exhale 3 seconds. And then back up 3 times. So 3, 2, 3.
Let's do it.
Or maybe we should
box breathing right there.
Yeah, box breathing. So you ready? All right, I'm just. Oh God, I needed that.
Damn, that cracked.
Damn, yeah. I needed that. I'm gonna just shake out whatever I need to. Oh, release. There we go. All right. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. All right. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. There you go. Have a big, deep inhale. Breathing in that good ass prana. Big release. Ooh, man. That was good.
That was a nice hit
Yeah.
of oxygen,
For sure.
spaciousness.
Right? It's nothing like breathing, man. It's just like so simple, but it's just like just breathing.
It's the ultimate power.
It's life.
And we bring it with us anywhere we go.
Pura vida. For
It's
sure.
free.
Yeah. There you go. It is free.
Just a quick fact is we take 26,000 breaths a day.
A day.
So try to consider, how much of those breaths are actually full breaths.
That's true. Sometimes we just so shallow breathing and just putting ourselves into anxiety. Sometimes like it's so good to just take a deep breath sometimes, and even when you're not stressed, it's just like
Yeah, I feel like that was that poem by Thich Nhat Hanh that I just saw, that it was about like spaciousness when you breathe, and I feel like that is what breathing is. It's like creating space in your abdomen, but like also in your in the moment.
Yeah.
So that's why it's such a good tool.
Yeah.
To incorporate in any moment of reaction or triggering or anything. Just create a space,
Yes.
a break, a moment before you act.
Yes.
Essentially, and just that we take it with us everywhere we go. So it's such a lovely tool
Right.
that we can tap into at any moment.
Yeah.
It's really amazing.
It is for
It's
sure.
our gift.
Yeah.
Prana.
Yeah. Wow. I appreciate you for sharing that, man. I didn't even realize like that 26,000 breaths a day. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Like, wow, we have so much life within us, man. That's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And
sacred.
Yeah.
Because getting it, like, even now in Chiang Mai, we've got like the smoky coming, and like,
Yeah.
you just think about air. You think about like even just how humans have now created an environment where the air, our life energy is now could be harmful for
Right.
us. It's like, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely something to be
Yeah.
aware of for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn, man. Yeah. Puts you into a lot of perspective. I also want to gain a new perspective into your journey, man, because We talked a little bit about this, in terms of just the experience of being trans, the experience of being queer, and just how that differs from everybody, because nobody's two stories are similar. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no one way to be trans.
Not at all.
Nah.
I feel like the world of trans in general is just so vast. And I mean, and beyond just the word trans, but queer, anything outside of the box, non-binary, fluid, like all of these different labels. But it's like, man, you could fall into so many nuances of that. And I think that's important for people to know that, and even just for trans people, because I think when we may have first discovered, like, oh, I have this choice. I can actually, like, be the gender that I am, not the one I was assigned at birth.
Right.
You might get a very limited view of what trans is. You might think, like, okay, I'm trans, therefore I have to, do hormones or whatever it is. But so just really empowering to meet, like, lots of different queer and trans people, and just be like, oh my God, like, it's endless. Like, the combinations and styles and things like that.
Most definitely. Yeah. Like, what was that journey like for you, though? Like, I know you didn't really discover what being trans was even like until your later years in life. Like, I know I discovered it when I was like 13. Yeah. But for you, it kind of came later. So how did you learn to form this, like, identity, or just your experience in relationship with being trans to you meant?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like when I was young, very young, like 4 years old. So that's like the first memories that you can form, and it's just super young. I just told my family, for some reason, I told everyone that I'm a boy, and I'm not a pretty princess. I'm a handsome prince. And I was very much convicted in this way for my whole, like, for a lot of my childhood. I just felt like, no, I'm a boy.
Right.
And I want to cut my hair. I want to do all that stuff that boys are doing, that they wouldn't allow girls to do things like that. But also just like, I kept feeling it. I even, like, then it became around 8 or 9 years old, and I told my whole baseball team, call me Jason. And, like, they would, at the time. But again, nobody was coming to me and saying, like, oh, did you ever hear about, like, transgender? You might be like that. Right. I never heard of that. So I was just existing very naturally within, like, a more masculine energy, and I think, like, I was playing sports with the boys, but then basically, like, around, I would say, about, like, 11 is when adults, and I'm going to say conservative adults, started to intervene with me, with my naturalness. They started, it was the first time I started to hear these things of, like, you might want to wear different clothes. Or people just telling me, like, no, you're a girl.
Right,
you can't
trying to put labels on you. And
and I mean, even more than labels, there was, like, a whole intervention with me, like, at school, I remember, with my counselor. Where they were basically telling me, like, I dress too masculine and I need to change, and I mean, I was just so young, I didn't even know what was going on. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Damn.
Yeah, I know. It was that conservative, like, these are the counselor at school, elementary school.
Yeah. People that clearly were not trained right, but I know, not to bring up, like, as if we have, like, this huge age gap, but, I know that times were a little bit different for sure for you growing up.
Absolutely. There was, like, in my school, I never heard of queer people or queerness, like, in elementary or even middle school. I only heard about it when I was 18. So, yeah, like, I heard about being, like, gay or, like, lesbian at 18, and I was like,
wow.
You can do that? Because I always felt that way. Like, I was like, naturally. Why do I think all these girls are hot? And like, I'm like from a young age, I had a diary where I was, like, writing different girls' names and being like, but nobody explained to me what was going on. But they definitely told me whatever is going on, it's fucking wrong. So it really messed me up, because especially I feel like when I went into middle school was when it became heavy. Like, you need to be a girl, and so I had to try, right? I didn't feel like I had a choice, so I started to wear like women's clothes and grow my hair long and like act feminine and try to like blend in, but it never felt comfortable for me. But I still did it for a very, very long time. You know?
Yeah. Did that ever, like, you feel like, did that distort your perception or view of femininity and what that meant for you?
I mean, I think, like, in terms of femininity, as being, like, a trans man who already felt that they were a man from such a young age, like, there was definitely a rejection, you know, of the feminine, but that's also because it just seemed like whatever the boys are allowed to do, it looks way better than what the women get to do. So it was more just like, in the mind is like being feminine, being woman. It's like, it sucks in that sense. Like, why I can't play this, I can't do that, I can't build this. You know, I'm getting separated, being told what to do, and so I just hated it.
Yeah,
like, you know, that was one aspect. So I think there was like a rejection of it too. You know, because it was also the thing that was keeping me in a box. It was the thing that everyone was telling me I am, when I was like, wait, I think I'm not that, you know? So it was a source, the original source of the issue, right? In a way.
Yeah.
So there was definitely that disconnection, you know, from that feminine side rather than the ownership of it and the loving of it and tending to it. For sure. You know?
Yeah.
So I think it just... it just caused like a disconnection at the time, you know?
Yeah, I completely agree, man. Like, I've had similar experiences as well. Like, when I was in elementary school, like, I always used to feel like I was just, a boy, you know what I'm saying? I just automatically was telling people, my name's Trey, whatever. I would, like, call myself Trey and shit. Songs. Yeah. I was, you know, and, like, it wasn't until people started telling me who I need to be that I'm just like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, that doesn't really resonate with me. Like, oh no, you can't go play football with the boys, man. Go hang out with the girls. Go, you know, play with dolls. I'm like, I don't want to play with dolls. I want to play with WWE wrestlers and shit, you know? And like, it was just like so much of these expectations placed on me of this box that I needed to be within, that I never felt like that was me. So I think that's a lot of experiences, like similar experience with trans people, is like, we feel how we feel. We already know how we know. And I think it's like a disconnect with society, because so many people even like feel like, oh, you guys are brainwashing these kids and blah, blah, blah. But like most of the time, the kids already know. Like they feel, and like, how they're even now
as an adult, when I go to schools and see, it's like, you can tell which kids are like not fitting into this prescribed binary, like naturally. You know, that's the thing, that's how, like, when I had to argue or, you know, go through this whole coming out with my family and all this, which was not, it wasn't a happy, loving thing. So when I'm talking about that, just, well, what was the last thing we just said?
About like growing up and how sometimes we're viewed as this way as a kid, and society places these norms on us that really doesn't fit, and that shared experience that many trans people have.
I was trying to think of the last word you said.
The last word.
It triggered. Anyway, no, but the point, just basically, just like with my family, like coming out to them. I mean, it was like, first you come out as queer, which is a big drama, but then later having to like come out and explain trans. It's like they acted so puzzled, but it was like, you already knew. I was actually, originally, you were kind of the first supporter, because when I told my whole family I'm a handsome prince. They called me that for a long time. They just thought, it's cute. Thaan wants to be called that,
or like a phase.
But it wasn't like. And I'm like, you already saw me from a baby acting that way for years and years. Why are you surprised now? You know?
Yeah.
So I just think adults and stuff, they just try not to like see things or when it's already there so naturally. And also, what I was going to say is like, also coming out, it's like I had to explain to my mom that, like, I didn't choose this. Like, it just happened. I can't explain to you why I felt that way. Right. It's just what I felt as a baby. So I didn't just, like, you know, do it to hurt you and all this, you know, all the, oh, why don't you change your mind? It's like, I can't. Yeah. Like, this is who I am. Right. And that's how I knew, because, you know, there's times where people, you know, they try to say, like, oh, yeah, it's just a phase and all this. And it's like, they don't understand. It's like, for that's most of us, it's complete. It's so natural to be this. So that's it. It's just what we are. Right. It's exactly. Not, you know, it's not even like an action, really. It's just like, and I think most people probably do know when they have that in them, whether or not they go and explore it and really embrace it. But I feel like you can tell. For sure. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's something that's within us. And for sure, like, my mom thought the same thing. Like, oh, it's just a phase, you know? Like, oh, you know, I thought you were going to get out of that. Because at first, actually, it was so funny. My coming out story was when I was 13. 13, a lot of shit happened for me. But I remember coming out to my mom, and I was like, hey, Mom, I need to tell you something. I want to transition, and I need your permission. Because I wanted to get on T, because, like, I had been researching it. Like, that's when I discovered about, like, this whole thing about being trans, and I just resonated so deeply with it. I'm like, oh, my God, this is an option. How
did you discover it?
On YouTube. Damn, everything on YouTube, yeah.
Because that's a generation gap right there. Yeah. We didn't even have YouTube back then. But just that, like, back then, no one, at least within, like, Michigan, where I'm from, no one was talking about.
Yeah, I'm sure nobody was, like, really telling their story or documenting it and showing, like, hey, this is who I am.
Celebrating it. Right. Like, we just didn't have that so out there. You would have to, like, be in a special community to know about that. I felt like, especially as a kid, like, you know, I mean, I know there was a lot of trans people because we've been here since the beginning.
The dawn of ages, yes.
Yeah, but, yeah, it's just, that's amazing that you could research at that age.
Yeah. That's how I found out about it. And the more research I kept doing, I'm like, oh, my God, this is an option for me. Like, I really resonate exciting. With this. Yeah, and I was just ready, you know, because I'm just like, oh, my God, this is an option. I can get on testosterone. This can, like, help me in my dysphoria. Like, starting to put, like, have addiction for what I was feeling, and just knowing that, oh, I'm not crazy. I'm not just feeling this way for no reason. Like, other people can relate to me, and other people feel the same, you know? So when I found out about the trans identity and just being who you are, and, like, you're able to transition, I told my mom, and I came out as like, Mom, I want to transition. And she was like, whoa, I'm okay with you. So I did tell her I wanted to transition, and then I was like, oh, yeah, Mom, and by the way, I'm gay. I like girls. And she was like, whoa. Yeah, I just laid it all out on her, right, at one time. And she was like, I'm okay with you liking girls, but you're going to have to wait until you're, like, 18 for transition. Like, she was just not okay with me going through the transition process at 13, which in hindsight, I'm actually grateful that I waited and I was able to really work through things, because she did allow me to see a gender therapist, and I went to therapy for a long time to really reflect a lot on my childhood and just, you know, feel and discover more of myself before I started making steps. But I still felt the same way at 18. Like, I remember, like, she was like, okay, you can do whatever you want when you're 18. And then when I was 18 again, I was like, Mom, I still feel the same way. Waiting for that day. Yeah. And she was so surprised again. She was like,
oh, damn, she was surprised.
Yeah, she was surprised.
Like, Mom.
Like, you know this. I've been fucking dressing like how I every time I wear dresses and skirts, I fucking cry. Never liked them, you know. Yeah, and people call me time boy, but, you know, I was just always me. You know what I'm saying? Just, I loved being me and masculine presented, and I just didn't give a fuck what anybody else was trying to tell me what I needed to do, because I knew internally that didn't make me feel good. And so, yeah, when I came out again at 18, she was surprised. She's like, oh, my God, I thought this was like a phase or something. And, you know, she took some time as well, kind of like blaming herself and just like, oh, my God, was it something that I did? But I'm,
yeah,
you know.
Exactly. I think that's because a lot of people don't realize that it's just a natural thing.
Right.
And like there's two spirits.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
the whole thing about like trans or non-binary and all these types, they were seen in many cultures as holy, as leaders, as special, unique entities that were actually in positions of like religious power.
Yep.
And a lot of that changed after the 11th century when Christianity reached the world. Because they started spreading a lot of this gender binary and like anti-queer, anti-trans stuff. Like even in Islam, like the imams used to be often like two-spirit or trans, which they were like the religious leaders, you know. But then after the 11th century, it completely got influenced by Christianity. And changed like the whole world. So it's like
that type of colonization.
It was forgotten, you know, and like so then maybe people in our parents' generation, they just don't even like, it's not even on their radar as a thing. You know? It's crazy.
It is, especially when like we were in real positions of power, you know. And I've done research as well on like the two-spirited people, because to be able to have this type of ancient knowledge within you, because it's not something that's new age, right? I just feel like we're remembering now again, no, this always existed. We've always been here throughout history, throughout time, you know. And like to have these people who are embracing of these energies, you know, of masculine and feminine, and able to express that was seen as something very powerful. And people went to these people like us for wisdom, for guidance, because we hold the powers of both and we're able to embrace that. So like I'm glad you brought that up, because I also wanted to ask you, like, how has your journey of integration, of learning how to integrate your masculine and feminine, because you know that yes, you do have your femininity and it's something that you also embrace, but you're also allowing yourself to be in your masculine energy and to be able to embody that. So like how has that been for you?
I mean, I feel like I want to talk a bit of what you said before, you know, about how like trans people were honored and how like because we were just born this way, it's like there was some wisdom in us that like forces you, like being trans, if you're gonna really do it and be authentic, it forces you to live true to what's in you. Like, and you can't really like avoid it, because unless you're just gonna be in the closet. So that in itself is such a wonderful thing. It's like we have to be seriously authentic, which I think in this day and age, that's rare. So maybe that's another reason why people would come to us, because they're like for power and advice and things like that, because we already had this like kind of like just, again, non-binary, like free kind of natural existence that didn't fit into like all these rules and stuff. So when it comes into like femininity and masculinity, like I do believe everyone has some percentages, you know, of feminine and masculine inside of them. So it doesn't matter if you identify as a cisgender, but you still have that. And I think it's important that we tap into both, because they're just very different energies and also both useful. I mean, I think like obviously I'm trans masculine, so it's like I think naturally we reject, you know, the opposite side for a while, like the feminine, because that's all, you know, as we said, like people are forcing it, they're telling us to be this way, like we're boiling, we're in a box, so we're like, no, like full rejection. But now, you know, like over time, I actually see and feel such a beauty, more and more, like reconnecting with my femininity too, and just being like, having this femininity is what makes me very special. And it makes me like really unique in terms of like romantic relationships, how I show up, how I take care of people, how I'm intuitive, you know, and things like that are just like there's just so many amazing, powerful traits that women, and not just women, but let's say like feminine women, you know, possess, that are like so strong and so powerful, like strength to not get angry, you know, like that's hard, you know. We often have put a lot in this society, the emphasis on the masculine, like, is so good. Oh, I'm strong, I'm tough, yeah. But it's like, you have to be a lot stronger to remain calm in a storm, actually. No, and that's something I learned from my mom, because it's like, I grew up with my father and mother, and like my dad is like masculine, you know, super like close-minded, like misogynist, you know, mindset. And he's strong. He'll yell. He'll dominate to get his way. He'll show anger. But my mom was like kind, nice, like very soft. Like complete opposites. Like quite more feminine. But I used to think, like growing up, like my dad, oh, he's the strong one. But then I realized my mom's the strong one, because she doesn't just blow up and get crazy at any little thing. Like, that's hard. And like, you're even living with this guy who's a volatile, and you're still calm. Like, that's strength. So I think like that, the strength in femininity, like being able to tolerate things, being able to also like stay quiet in certain moments, because it's just like too ridiculous to like, we don't need like to yell and raise our voice just to be heard and things like that. Like, it's so essential for this society, you know, like just all of the feminine characteristics. So I'm just, you know, trying to understand too, like even as a transgender person, I was still raised in a misogynistic patriarchy society. So we can pick up those tendencies too, to like overvalue the masculine or something.
For sure.
Because that's what they wanted us to do. But actually now, so with my journey coming back into the femininity, it's like, whoa, like, and it's so amazing. I have so much respect for women, and I feel like they should be like leading the world.
For sure.
The world would just be like much calmer, less wars, if it wasn't a bunch of like egotistical like white men and fascists that they all probably, you know, do sexual abuse and things against women and treat them horrible. If they weren't running the world, that we would have a much, I think, better chance at having peace. So I'm just trying to be like, oh, but, and also, Thaan, you actually have that, a lot of that in you, being AFAB. And so it's like, can I honor that? Can I use it and see it as just as valuable as my masculine side, rather than in the past trying to shut it down,
right,
and just put only masculine.
Glorifying it, right.
And I also think it's important for my own health too, because
sure.
Imagine if you're like rejecting a whole part of you, it's like you're missing something. So it's like really important to like look at yourself as this like really whole entity.
Exactly.
And then being confident and being like, and I'm still trans,
right,
but I have my feminine side. So like my last example would be like, I shaved my head, and then now I'm growing it longer. But, you know, there was a time where it's like, if I grow it longer, you know, I could be misgendered more. But then now it's like, it doesn't matter, because I know who I am. And I look cool either way. And, like, I don't need to just go with all these, like, masculine trends or whatever just to be me, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I appreciate you for sharing that, because like it resonates so deeply, like especially like I feel like we get handed all these scripts and we don't even realize that we're acting it out, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just like someday you have to really, or I hope that we all really wake up and realize like this narrative, this script isn't for me. And you have the ability to write your own story, to write your own script, you know, and experience your own journey, express your truth and what that means for you and to you, and, you know, and like for you to see the enactments of how masculinity has played a part of your life, but also how femininity has played a part in your life, and honoring both of those and becoming aware, like extremely aware. Like what I really love about you is like you're super self-aware and you're very straightforward, like with yourself, you know. It's just like, you know, that yes, you've had times where you may have overvalued the masculinity and the patriarchal side, because as a society that we're raised in that, you know, to
and it's survival that.
Exactly, for sure,
like, because the man does get the best options and the privilege.
For
it's
sure.
Just like, so you're like, well, I'm just gonna do that because you know, I just want to make my life a bit easier, you know. And I think like, again, having that feminine side and being like trans and stuff, it's like I really understand deeply. Also, I was assigned female at birth, and I was treated like a woman and told I was a woman for, I don't know, 27 years. So it's like, I know what it's like to be a woman in the world. And that's why I can even have so much respect for a woman and understand them on a different level that a lot of cisgender men just don't, and they don't even take the time to know something, you know, about a woman and all their experiences and how hard it is for so many beautiful, awesome women that like they just have to suffer from even childhood by getting like sexually abused and things like that, like constantly objectified, like only showing value if you're giving like a sexual favor. It's just like, that's so difficult to live in this world where you're also constantly being like controlled and told what you can't do. Like you look at, I remember my friend, she studied like herbalism in the US, and she was like a black woman, and she said when she went to school and university, it was all white men, and they literally like kept telling her like, are you sure like you're in the right class and all this, like don't you want to do like whatever there, you know, there's a few topics that women should study, and then they would just like kept trying over and over and over to kick her out, you know. So it's like we had to face, like, well, women have to be so strong and take so much suffering just to like get a little bit ahead in this world. And again, just the fact that I lived through that, and I know I have a lot of privilege being like a more masculine presenting person now, but like I still completely like understand that depth and the complication and the challenges of being like a woman in the world. So I think that also makes me and trans people in general just such a unique entity where we can like empathize with so many aspects.
I was going to bring that up. Just like it makes us so much well-rounded and empathetic for everybody, you know, because also what I've noticed after I transitioned was funny was like the concept of gender really just like, I used to think it was so black and white. Okay, man, woman, right? But then after I transitioned, I'm like, gender is just not fucking real. It's whatever you want. It's this spectrum of duality. Like we can exist within both, all, and, you know, nothing at the same time, you know? It's just like there's no straight line of you're this or you're that. No, because we all have masculine and feminine energies. And sometimes that also just verifies or it's variable, you know. Some days we might be more in our feminine energy, some days we might be more in our chi or, you know, masculine energy, and sometimes it goes moment to moment, whatever, you know. It's not this
and then I think there's this other misconception, and again, they want us to, they designed it
all by design,
by boxes, you know. And like there's this other conception like, okay, so if I'm trans, I'm a man, I must like this and I must be attracted to this. And it's like, no, you can be whatever you want.
Exactly.
Whenever you can do day by day. You can say like, I want to wear a dress today. I don't care if I got a beard, I'm going to wear a dress.
Yeah.
And I think like one thing that super opened my mind is shout out with gratitude to RuPaul and RuPaul's Drag Race.
Hell
because there were so many trans people on there, and like you know, RuPaul also like really highlights people's stories and stuff. And then like there was one guy there, I think his name's like Got Mick, and he he was like a trans man, but then does drag. And then I was just like, yo, you're blowing my mind right now. And I'm like, oh yeah, you can be anything you fucking want. You don't have like, because you might, you know, I just think you can get tricked, right? You're like, I'm gonna be a guy and then I'm gonna get like a straight wife, and it's like it actually doesn't work that way.
Exactly.
Because the thing is like, within queerness is so fluid. There's so many nuances that there's nothing that can be straight about being queer, you know, like that's why like it, you know. And like I feel like it's only straight people who have said to me like, why do you have to like say that you're queer? I don't get it, like that word, I don't know, and all this. And it's just like, I don't know, because the whole world is straight, everything's assumed to be straight, so I want to represent like the difference. And queer to me just means like open, fluid, authentic, wild, expressive, like unashamed, you know, to be yourself, like all of these things. It doesn't mean I want to fuck a guy or I want to have sex with a girl, you know. No, like it's nothing is direct within this giant realm of being trans, being non-binary, being, you know, queer. So I think it's just like something else that we have to realize, you know. And even for us queer people, it can be freeing to just be like, you know what, even fuck all the other, like these like kind of other boxes that we created in being queer. It's like I'm me. And everyone's them, and like also we are all each other too. And it's just like just exist. And you know, but I've thought about this concept quite a bit, is like, so if there was no man and woman, would I, you know, even feel the need to be like, no, I'm this or that? Probably not, because or at least like, let's say there was not these big divides between man and woman. Like, let's say you could be born a woman but be super masculine and like no one would bother you and all this, then maybe, you know, I would just be like, okay, well, I don't even need to like say that I'm trans and do all this, because like I'm already just accepted in my unique position. You know, so I think like sometimes being trans and all that can come from also pressure, like I have to choose something because like society, you know,
because we feel like we need to define our identity in some way, shape, or form. And it's just like, especially
because people want to place you. They're like, are you a man or a fucking woman? So you're like, well, I'm not a woman, so man, you know. But it's like, would we have needed to do that if we started off like, I say like, I want to make a movie of like a society that when you're born, you're not given like any gender, you're not told anything about who you can be romantically attracted to, and just see like what would we naturally come out to be, you know. And I do think there would just be so many different expressions of queerness, because people wouldn't have felt that pressure.
And there would be no judgment on what roles you need to play or what roles you can't play. It's like, you can do anything, you're free to be you. I think that would be a great movie. I would love to watch that. I
know, I've been like, I've literally been thinking about this for years. I'm like, I just want to see that movie or explore that concept, you know, like what would it be? And I think like there are some awesome parents out there that are very radical, and they're raising their kids to choose, and like I can see the difference between those kids and kids who were forced, you know, to be a certain way. It's like you get there and like I was like, I don't even know what this kid is identifying as right now, but like they're so cute, they're so expressive, they're so badass, they're little babies, and I'm like, wow. And the mom and the parents are like supportive, and you're just like, oh my God, that's so wonderful. I wonder what it would have been like for me to be raised in that environment, you know. And I find that's oftentimes like that, where we learn how to meet our inner child and reparent ourselves in those ways, like with even not being accepted and being told what we had to be, or this was wrong or whatever, just not feeling like who we were wasn't good enough in some kind of way. And like, it's been a lot of times where I've learned I had to re-meet my childhood self and be like, no, it's okay to do that. It's okay to like her and to be you, and to fuck dresses, fuck skirts, man. Why do you try to put that on you, you know? And just to embrace that part of ourselves. And I think that comes a big part with what you were saying earlier, of like not just totally shutting down who you were born as, you know, because yes, in a sense we do disconnect, especially when we're going through this process of transitioning, because it is a transition, right? So I think at some point you do close yourself off to who you were born as, because you're trying to really get to who you want to be and expressing that fully, you know. It's kind of like essential.
It is.
It's like a step.
Right. But then you also have to go back and be like, okay, no, like I can't completely just forget about this, because then like we're forgetting about memories. And then like I remember sometimes like I would feel uncomfortable looking at old photos of myself, and I'm like, this is just who I was. No, you know?
I know. I had that feeling a few years ago. I was looking at photos, and at first it started like, whoa, but then I just like really looked at it and like spent time, and I was like, wow, I remember like they would put these clothes on me, and like I didn't really, and I was just like kind of left, and I'm like, that's so funny, like I went through all this, you know, like just, and then like I took some of those pictures with me, you know, and I just like hung them out too, because I'm like, no, I I don't need to like hide this photo. Like I
Right.
can honor it. That is me.
Right.
Like that was me. But I was in
Yeah.
society and like they were forcing me to do stuff like that. I don't need to be embarrassed about that.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
and also like there's another that photo thing. Like I was in my parents' house and I just noticed that like all the childhood photos of me, like I'm in a feminine look. Whereas like when I also was looking at the photos, there was a bunch of me like super masculine. Like I looked like gangster. Like I had my hat on backwards. I was like sitting next to like a woman that I thought was hot, like an adult. And I was like, I remember that, you know, I was like, and so I'm like, dude, I was so masculine and I look cool. So I kept those too. But then I was like, my parents are only displaying the ones where I look feminine. And it pissed me off because I'm like, they're kind of trying to keep something. I felt that. So I did actually take them down because I'm like, you can, you know, here's some photos if you want to put about me that feel more accurate. And they didn't like that, but I was just like, I don't know, you know, it triggered me. I was just like, why are these the ones that they're keeping, you know? Yeah. And it triggers me also because I'm not really fully accepted by them either. So it's especially from my dad and all that. So it's like, you know, so I just think that, it's important that we honor that and not just completely reject it either. Because in a way, you're kind of rejecting yourself.
Exactly.
And that can create a very unhealthy dynamic.
For sure.
Within you.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, and we have to be very mindful of that because how we feel about ourselves is also how it's going to show up within others. And I want to ask you, especially since we're on the season of dating and relationships, you know, like how has your your way of being played out into part with your relationships? You know, I know that we all have those journeys and stages within ourselves when we're a lot more accepting and authentic of who we are, and sometimes where we're in denial or still shutting off to who we are. So like just like an overview, I know from the beginning of when you were just discovering, okay, this is me embracing me, like how did that show up within your relationships and how were you received?
Yeah, I mean, I think like it was interesting because like for a while I didn't know that you could like claim and own like, you know, your gender really, like until I was really watching more and more RuPaul's, and then I was just like, oh, I can literally just like say who I am. I don't need to try, you know. And so it changed my life because I was just like, fuck this, like I'm just gonna be who I am, like because people would tell their stories and I'm like, dude, I felt the same way. Like, it just kept resonating. And I'm like, oh, my God.
Right.
And I was pretty old. I mean, I think I was, like, 27 at that point. I was definitely, like, a masculine at the time. But, like, I didn't understand that element. So I was with someone at the time. And bless her heart. Like, she was extremely supportive. Like, more than, like, me even. Like, she was, like, so, like, trying to, you know, get me to embrace myself and just support me and being like, I'm cool, like I got you, I get it, and I'm gonna support you, I'm gonna call you the right pronouns. She just did a lot of things, you know. So in that way with her it was quite easy. But I did find after, you know, her and other just dating certain people, it's like they don't get it. Like even, and I mean it could be also because I was dating people that were maybe like more straight or like they weren't that queer, or they're hiding, or they're closeted. Or, so, like, I would say, like, oh, my pronouns are he, him. And, like, I just feel like people, I don't know, like, maybe because they're quite straight, like, in their mindset, they were like, oh, I need to treat you different, like a man. And I'm like, just treat me like me. Like, you don't need to, like, act like I'm a cis man. And, like, I had to tell, I'm like, I'm not a cis man. I just, you know, like, even though I'm telling you my pronouns are he, him, but that's because, like, it's just there's not like a lot of options. So, but I'm not a cisgendered man. You don't need to act the way that you would act in that, you know, whatever. It was just, so I think that was interesting. I was surprised that people got like so hung up on the pronoun thing, and then they were like, what should I do? Like they acted like puzzled. It felt like some people didn't take it serious or like they're like, okay, I'll call you he, but like inside they kind of just, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. They kind of want to be like, no, but you're a woman or something. Like kind of vibe, you know?
Yeah,
and
I feel that. Yeah, I've experienced that.
Yeah, and some really respect. I think it's different. It's just also about who we choose. But in terms of relationships, like I think what's important advice is just try to be with people who are with it from the beginning, because I just feel like when you have to explain and it's just kind of like tiring. And I feel like a lot of times if people want to understand, they will, like early on. And if they're still like hiding and closeted and making everything complicated, it can really hurt ourselves as trans people, because it's like we already had to fight so hard and sacrifice and give up and cry and have pain and all this just to be us, right? You know, starting with I'm not straight, and then to I'm straight. I don't want to get back in the closet by someone who's also closeted, and it does kind of make you feel bad, because you're like, I'm a butterfly that's already bloomed, but now I'm with someone who's uncomfortable, or like they're not gonna explain about my pronoun to their family, or they're not gonna even tell their family that they're with me. And it's just like embarrassing. Like you do start to think like, oh, I'm such a, I mean, deep down, like, am I a freak, you know, because I'm like trans, I can't just be accepted, you know. And like that's has been very difficult for me. So I would say, like, especially because if I was involved with kind of more straight leaning people, like I hate the idea that like I could be such a good guy, because I am, like,
for sure,
to like respectful, listening, supportive, emotionally intelligent, like communicative, like smart on other levels, physically supportive, you know. So it's like, but then I just feel like there's a different standard. Like we have to work really hard to like show that we're, you know, worth it, worth not being a secret, worth committing to all this stuff. But then like with cis straight people, like they can just walk in and wave, and then it's like, sure, yeah, he's my boyfriend, like whatever, we don't really talk that much, but you know, whatever, he's a man, it's fine. And you're just like, oh, that stuff really has bothered me in life. Like, for example, being a secret, right, like in a family, and then seeing like another family member bringing like a straight guy to the party, and then everyone being like, oh, that's your boyfriend right away. But then me coming to the party for years, and like no one ever asked if we were dating, even though like to me with a queer eye, I'd be like, clearly they're together, but none of the family ever asked, things like that. And it's just like humiliating. And I think like even in these situations, I tried to bring it up to my partner, and like because they were so straight leaning, like they just didn't even get it. Like they didn't even get the rage and pain and humiliation that we have to go through, like just because we're trans. Like we're not like seen as valid or a legitimate option, or you know, like, or just. So I think that's really difficult also with dating. But also there's tons of awesome people who show up and love us and get super into us, like, you know, because we're amazing people and we're great looking, you know.
Yeah, for sure, man.
You know, so it's like many people have been in love with me, so I'm not saying like, oh, it's so difficult, but I just think like there's a lot of internal like complexities being when you're dating too, because like, yeah, you and your partner could be with it, but then it's like, oh, now how are you gonna represent me too when it comes down to the family? For sure. And stuff. Are you gonna be embarrassed? Are you gonna be like, fuck yeah, that's my baby, and stand up and fight for me? It's like a lot of people wouldn't do that. Yeah. You know, and then that just like every time, you know, it's like, well, what is the situation that I'm walking into being trans? You know, there's just so many like unknowns because we don't know who we're gonna deal with. So yeah, it can be complicated as well, right?
For sure. I mean, yeah, because our literally whole journey is about defying the norms, defining our own truths, and not just going with this pre-narrative, this script that we were handed. And so we are really faced like all the time to be our truth, to live our truth, because if not, we're hiding. And I think sometimes we can attract a lot of people who are hiding. And, you know, sometimes we can attract people who are attracted to us just because we're living in our truth so much, and they love that. They love to see that, but they're afraid of that because it takes a lot of power and it takes a lot of courage to be in your truth and to live your truth and to express it the way that we do, especially at a time like now when they're trying to fucking erase us, eradicate us, tell us that we don't exist, tell us that we need to do this and that we need to do that. It's fucked up.
I know. And I think like that's the thing is like, I do think, and there was, I can't remember their name, but it's a dope-ass speaker, and they were saying, like, the reason why people that are so angry or hate trans and stuff, it's because we are so authentic, and we'll just never be what they will never be what we can be, because most people, all the cis normies, they are closeted too in so many ways. Like they might want to wear nope, they don't do any, they just fit in the norm, follow the rules, don't really shake it up, present as society wants you to, go along with what society says. Right. So they don't, and everyone's suppressing, because we all have like this wild queer energy within us, but we keep it down. And so when they see us, who are like, you know what, we're not doing that, we're gonna be fucking free. People can switch that into jealousy and anger, and then want to hide you, or even want to bring you down, or it's crazy. So I think that's something we have to realize too, rather than us taking it personal, like, oh, why did this person like keep me a secret for so long? It's like they are actually like jealous too, like they're intimidated that we can actually live our truth when in a world where most people don't. Right. You know, and that's kind of like, why do you get to do that and I can't? It's like, well, actually, everyone in the crowd, you can. Everyone can do it. You just have to be willing to take feedback and get criticized and stuff. Right. Yeah. It's your choice. Right. You know? Right. But don't hate on us, man. Don't come at us, because we're trying to, like you said, erase us and make our lives way more complicated for no reason. It's like, get out of here with this shit. And that's why, like, this day, March 31st, Trans Visibility Day, is really important. Yes. And our event with Fluid Frequencies is called Trans Testimony. Yep. And the reason I kind of wanted to do this event was just because to be like, we are here. Yep. We've always been here. Yeah, and we're still here, and we're not going anywhere, and we're beautiful. Like, but look at this shit. Yeah. So it's more of like a celebration. Like, look, yo, we're all out here. We're super dope. Like, come hang out on April 2nd, you know, and represent like who we are in numbers too. Yeah. Just to remind, like, they're gonna keep trying to shut us down and manipulate, but like, if we can also just keep shining and stay strong too and resist. Exactly. Yeah. Because we have a lot of strength, and we have more strength than the average person, just because to have to go through all this is a lot. It is. It's not, most people will not be able to handle that. Yeah. You know? Because it's being queer, coming out as trans, it's like an ultimate life risk and sacrifice too, because you do lose so much of, you know, good people that you don't really want in your life, but still, it's sad, you know? It's like, damn, you know, like, I'm just being me here. Yeah. And because of me, you don't want to be around me. You know, my own family won't accept me and stuff. Yeah. So you're just like, it's so much risk and sacrifice. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like friends, family, loved ones, you know, lovers. You put those relationships at jeopardy by just being yourself, which is really fucking crazy. Jobs. It's like, there's been many times where I'm gendered as she, and I like, it's like, I don't even feel like explaining, because it's like, first off, I don't even know if these people are gonna get it, but also I just don't even want to like rock the boat here. I just want to like get this money and get out of here. You know? And it's like, but that gets into like me as my trans journey. Like, I'm not doing hormones, I'm not doing surgery, but that's just simply because first I discovered a lot later. I think if I knew back then, I would have taken that option, because it would have been like sick, you know, but I just didn't want to do a lot of medicine and Western medicine and things like that. And also I just said, you know what, people are going to misgender me sometimes. People, like, in one day, someone will call me a man and a woman. Like, and it's funny. You're like, wow, I'm so like gender ambiguous that people... Yeah. But so it's like, don't let it bring me down each time for myself, because like, I know who I am, and that's kind of important. It's powerful. It's important because it's like, oh, they're calling me she, but I'm just like kind of letting it bounce off, because I'm like, they don't know. Yeah. They live in a binary world. Right. They only see things in one way, so I can't let that limited perspective make me that angry, because it's like, they're just limited.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And it would bring you down that a lot
Yeah.
if you were constantly getting mad.
For sure. Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at as well.
Yeah.
Like even just hearing the word like she and stuff, like I don't really even get mad at anymore. I just kind of like laugh inside, like they don't know, you know.
Yeah.
And I did notice that makes my life a lot easier, because otherwise there's an anxiety. It's like you're gonna go to a place and then they're gonna misgender you. I feel embarrassed. I feel ashamed. And it's just, that's heavy, you know.
Yeah. Man, Thaan, this is like having this conversation with you just like brings me back to like just how much respect and love and admiration I have for just people like us and just beings that are just truly authentically being. I love when we can be so expressive and just like you said, stop being in a binary world and just express ourselves, explode, and really embrace who we are in all facets. And it's just so like fucking courageous and dope.
Yeah, and I just think our world would be so colorful if everyone could express all the rainbow inside of them, you know?
I love that, for sure. I'm looking forward to our event for sure on April 2nd. I think it's important for people to come out and see us. Like you said, we exist. We're going to keep existing. We're going to be here. And we're going to fucking bring the frequencies, the fluid frequencies out.
Yep.
April 2nd, we're going to be at Moment's Notice, Chiang Mai, Thailand. Come at us.
Come through, you know. Like if, of course, all the trans, non-binary homies be there. This is for us. Yeah. This is for us to celebrate, to be wild, to express, wear your favorite outfits, bring your photos if you can of like when you were young to now, just to like just show like our existence, document it, celebrate it. But also like anyone else who's, you know, maybe feeling like they've wanted to explore their gender or they don't feel, you know, their gender, come like be around us, be around energy, be inspired. And also all the allies like come through too, like show up, celebrate with us, because that's what it's for, you know. It's like I don't want to make this into like this sad thing either, you know, like it's beautiful too. And like we also deserve to have this like queer joy and like these like celebrations of just who we are. And you know, even if it means that we're creating our own party for that, you know. Yeah, because they're not gonna do it. The straights, they're not doing that.
Yeah, but it's inclusive. It's inclusive to the straights too. So
yeah, I'm just saying they're not throwing us no party.
Yeah, for sure. So we gonna throw it down.
Exactly.
Yeah, and turn it up, man.
Exactly.
Yeah. Damn, Thaan, I'm super grateful to have you on the podcast, man. I love what you do. I love your story, and I appreciate you for sharing your journey with me today. Man, where can people find you at? Because you got a bunch of dope stuff going on real quick. I know you got, like,
I mean,
I'm from,
I got my permaculture homestead, which is a safe space for people of color and LGBTQ. So basically come through. We're called Holistic Permaculture. Check out our IG. That's probably where the most updated stuff is. We're building things. We're building our house out of clay. Mani came through the other weekend. Dope, it was dope. A bunch of queer baddies are always up there. Like, yo, we're doing this commune style, and we're learning these real life skills to get all people, not just queer, but like anyone who's interested in more resilient against our capitalist system. So by learning how to grow our own food, create our own energy, take our own the rain water, and build our own houses, stuff like that. So check it out. Holistic, WHOLISTIK permaculture. So come through for sure if you're interested.
Definitely come through. I'll leave your stuff in the bio, man. I really appreciate it again for you sharing your journey, Thaan. Infinite love to you.
Infinite love.
Yeah, infinite love to all my guys, gals, non-binary pals. So grateful to be back in your ear, living on your mind. Thank you guys for joining us in the conversation of today. Infinite love, guys. Namaste.
Namaste.
Ciao.